Welcome to today's program. This is Saturday, the 18th, 12 p.m. noon. And today we have a very special guest with us. She is a world-renowned celebrity. She is known. Hang on. So she is an amazing person. She sings really well. She's a great poet. She's a dancer. She has learned Bharatanatyam and Kathak, and she has performed in over 180 countries. On our very special request, we requested her if she could join us and share her perspectives with you. We gave her the request. At the last minute, she turned us down, so we called Susie instead. Susie is... No, I'm just messing with you guys. Susie is... she's a part of our comedy circle. She lives in the US. She has a Palestinian background, of course. We will get into that a lot. But please welcome Suzie Afridi. She's visiting from the US, and she's here in Pakistan for a week and wanted to extract the most out of her little brain as much as we could. So please welcome Susie, and I'll invite you to please introduce yourself before we move on.
Thank you. I will do taka taka taka.
You can totally do that.
Whenever I go see those shows like with taka taka taka, I just think like what. Thank you so much for the introduction. I told Qasim that I'm coming like 2 weeks before, and he arranged everything. He arranged today's event and he arranged tonight's event. And this is live. How many people are watching live? More than
I'm sure more than the live ones.
Yeah. So like he said, we're all gonna relax, and we're gonna put our judgments, our inhibitions, our sort of like, remember we judge ourselves before we let others judge. So we're not gonna judge ourselves. We're gonna just like let the gift of improv help us. And I really want to add to what you said, how improv helps you so much with mental health. Like if something happens to you, the sooner that you laugh at yourself before anyone else laughs at you, then you feel better. Like if you fall like when I fall, I always laugh before anyone else can laugh at me. Yeah, so that's, I personally I haven't done a lot of improv. I do mostly like, scripted stand-up, but I have to do improv like to talk to the audience and see where they're at. And so I'm always pushing myself to do improv, but Qasim, you do mostly improv, right?
Yes, we have been more focused on improvisation. We also do it. It's when you apply it onto mental health.
Yeah.
I've seen remarkable results, of course, that we share every Saturday. But please just give us an insight into your life. Where were you born? How did the Palestine to the US thing happened? And when you with your Palestinian/American/ Pakistani/ Palestinian identity is that you carry, how do you get through airport security?
I swear, I'm really worried because this is the first time I came, and we're going back, with Trump. He just kidnaps people and then he asks questions later. And our son is 18, so it's the first time that he's, coming as a grown-up. So basically, I was born and raised under the occupation. Like, that's how long the occupation is. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I was born under the Israeli occupation. Like, you guys had your separation from Bangladesh here. We had the 67. I was born way after 67. But since 67, there's been an occupation. And what we have experienced in the last 2 years is fast violence. And what my family has experienced under the occupation is slow violence. Either way, it gets to you mentally, And so in the late 80s, the Intifada started because they were charging us taxes and not giving us anything, like 90% tax. Can you imagine? My family is very working class. My mom was a teacher, and then she became a farmer so she can boycott them. Because that's how you boycott, it hurts them, right? And I am having such a hard time giving up Amazon. Can you believe it? Like I don't need Amazon. But I'm like, my mom started a farm, got bulldozers. And I can't do simple, I'm doing boycott, but not as much as she did. And then my dad was a welder. And they used to charge us like a lot of taxes, but they had to pay for our school privately. I went to like a Catholic, what you guys call here a convent school? Yeah. And so in the late 80s, things became unbearable because they send you a message every day. The Israelis send you a message. Leave or die. And if you die, die quietly. Don't post it on social media. And so we left. My mom got the message that, you know, there's no way you can survive here. And we came to America. And and then later I met Saqib, unki beta. And that's another story. I also do storytelling, which is not improv and not comedy. Storytelling is really powerful because, I don't know, like kahani here, do you do that? Like storytelling is, yeah. Storytelling is, it has to be a real story. You have to tell it live and no notes. So what happens is you're on stage, there's 1,000 people, they are with you. They're willing to laugh with you. They're willing to cry with you. So you can be like a little serious. Like I always say, if you don't laugh, it's storytelling. If you laugh, it's comedy. And so I told a story about meeting Saqib and our story. And then I want to tell you how I found comedy. This is how you find comedy. I found anytime you are a fish out of water. Do you know like fish out of water? Like you find yourself, you are different than everyone else. You're like, wait, you look around and you think, well, I think different, I'm different. That's a comedic situation, right? Like I was just in Babari Banda, where their village, you know, their ancestral village, and they don't speak Urdu. Maine Urdu sikha, like, and they only speak Pashto. And so it's just so much comedy because they don't understand me and I need to talk. Like he said, like I can't wait to hear what I have to say. And it was just, there's so much comedy. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't understand. How did Bin Laden do this? Like, did he learn Pashto or Dari, or did he teach them Arabic? Because Arabic is hard. Because if you know Arabic, then you can learn Urdu, because there's a few common words. But Pashto, there's 0 common words. And so that's where the comedy comes in. You start to think of situations like, well, how did he know? And then I asked his driver, and his driver was like, he's so smart, he learned all the languages. You think he waited for them to go to school and learn Urdu? And so I'm gonna tell you how I found comedy. One day I went to a comedy show in New York, and it was this guy who was Korean. Okay, looks Korean, he is Korean. Grew up in Jordan. His name is Won-ho Chung. And he did his show, it was an hour show. And it was mostly like really personal stories. Like his name is Won-ho, and so his friends would call the house and say, Won-ho Chung. Won-ho means where is he? And you know, the Arabs in Jordan would get confused. Like a lot of like, you know, comedic elements that come from somebody being different than anyone else. I went home that night and I woke up my husband like at 2 a.m. I was like, I want to do that. I want to do what that guy does. Because I live like, Saqib's father knows, I live in an area that is mostly, this is being live.
Oh yeah.
My biggest fear is to be cancelled. You know what cancelled means? Before I'm rich and famous. Like, I don't want to be poor and famous.
Cancelled what is that? No, we have no idea what that means.
Yeah,
Cancelled what?
Like, no. You know, you do something wrong and then they shave your head and put you in jail.
Yeah, we don't shave heads, but jail absolutely. But we just don't. We just never know.
That's my biggest fear.
We don't know which jail or what jail. Was people just disappear.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear is like to you know, sort of like upset somebody and before I'm rich and famous. So we're gonna take it slow. So anyways, in my neighborhood, there's a lot of people who are, I call them, we're not gonna use the word, Meri Mulk Wala Chor. Okay, they are either Israelis or, you know, the ones who are not Israeli are Jewish. And so I'm a fish out of water. Like here I am, Palestinian. And so there's a lot of like in everyday conversation, there's always comedy. Like I drop off my kid to school. Where are you going for summer break? They're like, oh, we're going to Israel. And then I just immediately like get angry in my head. Like they're going to the country that they stole from me. Like, and so because once you find yourself different than everyone around you, that's automatic comedy. If you handle it that way. Otherwise, you just develop a victim mentality, and then you become a victim of your own, in America, we use the word Karen. A Karen is someone who believes in her head that she's always the victim. So I think Israelis are like this. They think, oh, you are going to kill me, so I might as well kill you before you, like crazy, basically. And so you either find comedy and you laugh at yourself, or you develop trauma, right? So that's how I found comedy. And then I took a class, and I liked it. And then I took another class, and then I took some improv classes. But then the most improv I learned is from this Palestinian comedian who came to New York. He grew up in a refugee camp in Jenin, and he started a theater. Can you imagine? In Jenin, mashallah, you have your own country. He started a theater in a refugee camp in Jenin, and he came to New York and taught us improv. He was so generous. He was more generous than all the teachers that I hired privately. And so yeah, that's how I found the comedy. And then I did comedy 10 years ago when I had one son. And this I've thought a lot about, but I haven't, this is the first time I'm saying it. So I would do really well. Comedy is very black and white. People either laugh or they don't. And if they laugh every 5 seconds, then that's good. That means we say killed it. And if they don't laugh, then we say you bombed. And so one time after a show I did really well, I went up to the booker at the club and I said, listen, I'm a mom, I can't travel. In order to do comedy, you have to travel really. Can you just give me, pass me at the club so that I can come and practice, new material? Because comedy is the only art form you have to do it in front of people. I can't sit in a studio and paint. I'll be just talking to myself. I have to paint in front of you. And so he said, I don't know, I think you're too edgy, right? And I said, I just followed the woman who talked about the most vulgar stuff for an hour, and you're telling me I'm edgy? But then I realized recently, after the genocide, I realized edgy is code for you humanize your people. You're standing there humanizing your people, telling us that your brothers are normal men, funny, and we are trying to portray this image that Palestinians are terrorists. And so we can't have you humanize your people, because there's a whole industry of Islamophobia, and Hollywood, all of it is. So I was going against especially the Israelis have this, their PR points, a land without people for a people without land. Those are movies that they've made and they've convinced people. Or, there's another one, the desert. We made the desert bloom. We've been farming there for 10,000 years. My mom was farming there. Her whole family was farming. So that's when I realized, oh, I'm going uphill here. The only time I could get stage time is through doing my own shows, because. And I thought this was a conspiracy theory growing up, that they control Hollywood, media, and finance, but they really do. It's true. It's that you have to apologize to every conspiracy theorist in your life because my brother was a big conspiracy theorist. He was when I was younger, I wanted to go to Hollywood, and he's like, what are you gonna do in Hollywood? They're not gonna cast you. You have to change your name. My name before I got married was Sakkab. He goes, you have to change it to Sakkabberg or Sakkabman or something. And so they were all right? So that's how I feel. I feel that when I'm doing comedy to in New York, I'm trying to make it in their mainstream. I'm going upstream. I'm swimming against the Islamophobia industry, the war industry. War industry is a very big industry, right? Because there are people making money. And the peace industry is also an industry. There are people who are making money from negotiating for peace. The peace process has been so long. And so there's all these industries that I'm going. But I realized that the only way I could do it is if I just do my own shows. And then I had a very successful show in February. But then Trump came in, and Biden was very bad. But Trump just started kidnapping people. Literally kidnapping people, innocent people who were not even protesting, I would say, just speaking up. And then I realized, oh no, the only thing America has, freedom of speech, is going. And so, because I have kids, I got kind of scared, and I canceled the second show. But yeah, that's been my journey.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe out of disinformation or the kind of blanket that the government puts on any kind of information that is going out of Israel or the surrounding regions, is there a landscape of performing arts or comedy within Israel and Palestine? Because comedy, how I feel, it was, if you go into ancient roots, it was always to talk, to punch up towards power.
Yes.
Yeah, to mock them through satire or through even improvisation. If you look at the earliest roots of improvisation in the Greek theater, in the Greek cultures, it's always about talking up to the power at bay. Is there a growing culture? Because I know the cultures in Syria, in Jordan, in Lebanon, there are some good comedy circles popping up, and we have a little conversation. Has comedy been able to make any intrusive into the, because you said it yourself, the power of improvisation or comedy, how it cannot solve anything, but it can help people be more resilient,
Yes.
more they can adjust better to all these different things which are happening on a pace that is unprecedented. Is there something like that happening in that region?
Yeah, what I found that in the last 2 years, like, we always knew the world was unfair and there's no such thing as human rights, but the dehumanization, the level of dehumanization of Palestine, not just Palestinians, all of us brown and Muslim people, we are the last people that you can sort of trash publicly, right? You can't say anything against the Jews, you can go to jail, that's anti-Semitism. You can't really, it's politically incorrect to say anything about any other group. We're the last people that you can call us whatever names. There is comedy in Palestine, obviously. The thing is, whenever you have a lot of hypocrisy, like the government is lying, everybody's lying, when you have a lot of hypocrisy, you have a lot of comedians. So there's a ton of comedians in New York. Like I joke that in order for me to get stage time in New York, I have to wait for 20 white guys, very mediocre, you know. By the time I get on stage, the audience is tired, the bar is very low, and I feel like Maliha Lodi when she comes on stage at the UN. Look, nobody's listening to her because she had to follow all these men, right? The audience is exhausted. And so, yeah, whenever you have a lot of hypocrisy, there's a lot of comedy. Like in Germany, during World War II, there was a ton of comedians. I'm surprised why there's no hypocrisy in Pakistan. So I'm surprised you don't have more comedians here.
I think. I think you just stick around for a bit.
No. Listen, I watched the news. In Palestine, there's a lot of everyday people are so funny. I mean, there's a comedian I watch in Gaza, like doing TikToks. He's so funny. He was like telling his kid, "Hurry up and eat before they kill us." Like,
do the whole thing?
which one? Oh, so my theory is that they colonized us because of their parenting, like the way they're raised by their mothers, right? Like, have you heard this joke? This is a classic joke, but I've added to it. That the Italian mother tells her child, "Hurry up and eat. If you don't eat this, I will kill you." Okay, that's acceptable. The Jewish mother tells her child, "If you don't eat this, I will kill myself." That's psychotic. Like this is the part of the. There's another theory that I have as well as to why do they colonize us. By the way, it's just pure luck. The British could have given Pakistan to them.
What does the Palestinian woman say?
Oh, the Palestinian woman says, "Hurry up and eat before they kill us." Right? So if you think about it, that's dark humor. Why have we developed a sense of dark? We have very dark humor. The reason we developed a sense of dark humor because you know the classic equation, tragedy plus time equals comedy, right? Like let's say you fall in a ditch. If you are willing to laugh at yourself right there while you're in the ditch, then you've shrunk the time, right? Versus if you wait until the next day and you talk about it and you traumatize, then you're increasing the time. So then it takes more time for you to laugh. So tragedy plus time equals comedy, but they don't give us time because I'm reading this book called The 100-Year War by Professor Rashid Khalidi. This war has been 100 years. Like what they've been doing to us in the last 2 years, which I told you is fast violence, they've been doing since the British mandate, since the British were colonized. The British helped them. Like my dad's family, 8 kids, lived in Jerusalem. They came to him, the British came to him at gunpoint, saying, leave your house, just go to the YMCA for 5 days, and then we'll let you come back to your house. At gunpoint. They left, they went to the YMCA, they put my grandfather and my eldest uncle in jail. The British did, so that they don't fight the terrorists, the Israeli terrorists. And so and then they walked to Ramallah, where my mom lives, and then they rented a room from my mom's family. That's actually how my parents met. My one grandfather was like the Saraya Karaya, what do you call it? The landlord.
Yeah.
And so all that trauma, like you just learn to laugh during the tragedy, or else you don't survive. So I find that these comedians I watch on TikTok are just so funny. They're making fun of it like right there and then, and they're not afraid of death because they're so faithful, right? You see the videos, like one woman will lose her child and she'll say, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil, right? Like they're just not afraid. And they called their bluff. You know what called their bluff means? Like they wanted us to be sad and leave and walk to Egypt, but they didn't. They said, no, we're not leaving. So I think there's a lot of comedy in Palestine. There's a comedy festival. I know the guy. If you want to go, I can connect you with him.
Yeah, I'd love to go and perform in Israel and And
do you guys remember? I don't know if this viral moment hit Pakistan, but early in, I want to say like November 2023, right after October 7th, there was an interview with Qasim Youssef. Do you know Qasim Youssef? He's an
Piers
Egyptian.
Morgan interview?
Piers Morgan, and it went viral, right? Why?
Yeah,
Why did it go viral? Because it was comedy.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan said to him,
satire. It was put in a very satirical terms. Yeah.
He turned. What you do is you show them the truth. You show them how ridiculous they sound. So Qasim Youssef is Egyptian. I met him early on in his career. He was kicked out of Egypt basically because he spoke against the regime. By the way, Egypt is a lot like Pakistan. They go back and forth between military, democracy. If they elect the Muslims,
we went there once. We never looked back. We were this is good.
If they elect the Muslims, then the Americans come in and say, no democracy. If you're electing the Islamists, no democracy for you. Then they go back to like. So this guy came to America and he did live stand-up for like 10 years. And I know comedians who tell me that he bombed a lot. Like he didn't do well because he has an accent. He's Egyptian. But eventually he did it. He stuck through it. He persevered. And he was on Piers Morgan early on. And Piers Morgan said to him, well, what should they do? What should the Israelis do? And then Piers Morgan and Qasim Youssef had the perfect joke. He said they should kill them all. He goes, but it's hard. It's very hard to kill them. My wife is Palestinian. I've been trying to kill her. I can't. And she uses the kids as human shields. How perfect is that joke? Right? Like he had the perfect joke for the perfect moment, and he probably, like that doesn't just show up, he probably worked that in comedy clubs, and so I add further to that, and I think the hero of them, and then it went viral. Then suddenly people were interested in our part of the story, because remember, we have always owned the cause, the qadiyya. Do you say qadiyya for cause?
Are you talking Hadiyya?
Qadiyya. Yeah, we have always owned the cause, but they own the narrative. From that moment with Qasim Youssef, it flipped. Like we own the narrative. So I think the hero of the joke is his wife. You know why? Because she nagged him to the point where he thought about killing her. And that's the power of the Palestinian woman. Is that she can nag you enough to think, how can I kill this one? And so, that's a perfect example of how comedy highlighted the Palestinian cause so well. You could have like 3 hours of intellectual talks. Like, we had Edward Said. Have you heard of Edward Said? Greatest Palestinian intellectual. But he didn't have, the comedy is a superpower. Not everyone has it, right? And so this one, like it was like a 5-minute clip. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And it made him viral. Now he has like a big theater show in Dubai. I think it's coming up, like the big arena. Yeah. And I like his comedy because it's thinking man's comedy. So that's a great example of how you punch up, right? You never punch down. You never you never make fun of someone weaker than you. You always. That's why, like, whenever I see, Trump had a comedian open for him at the inauguration. It was terrible because he punched down at the Puerto Ricans.
Who was it?
I don't know, but he said he called Puerto Rico is like something that America colonized, but never doesn't give them full human rights, like it's apartheid. And he called the island a giant pile of trash. So that didn't work. Nobody laughed. No matter where your politics are, if it's not funny, you don't laugh, right? Because nobody wants to see people punching down at someone weaker than them. Like, you punch up, you punch at the power structure. And usually you get away with comedy. Like, it's very rare that, I don't know.
There is a license, it comes with a little license that you can just take a few extra steps that usually wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
Do you see any difference in the past 2 years, in the age of social journalism, in the age of the speed at which images and videos and situations are communicated over from one side to the next? Do you feel, is there anything different this time around, especially in the space of comedy and in terms of journalism also? How the situation in Palestine is being represented and being reacted to in real time this time around, during the past 2 years? Do you see any different? Do you feel the world views changing, or is there any changes whatsoever?
At first, I would watch, what I thought was fair news. Like, do you know Amna Nawaz? She's a Pakistani journalist. She's pretty big. Like, she got the anchor at PBS, which is a public broadcast. PBS used to be fair. And one time, one guy interviewed the Qatari. Remember how the Qataris were trying to make peace? Yeah. And he told him, you are the fire starter and the firefighter. And that's when I knew the media is so biased. Like, it's so, like, they really control every single thing all the messages that come out to us, they control it. And so immediately after the genocide started, I canceled everything. I canceled cable. Literally, if I can cancel it, I canceled it. But now, I feel that the zeitgeist, zeitgeist is like what the general feeling is shifting. Like, I had this joke about settlements, Israeli settlements. And it's the kind of joke that makes you, if you're uncomfortable laughing at the subject, you don't laugh. Now it gets like what we call it in comedy a clap break, which means it's an A joke. It's a good joke. So there are jokes that made people uncomfortable that now gets an A joke because everyone knows the truth now. I forgot what I was going to say. So yeah, I don't know if you know, but in New York, there's a running for mayor. There's a guy running for mayor. He's Muslim. Yes. So I think we're going to have our first Muslim mayor. So he was always authentic on Palestine. He never lied. He never said, you'd say one thing to one face and so he really has pushed the Americans have always been progressive until Palestine. Like, okay, gay, LGBTQ, HDMI, whatever. Okay, we love that. Okay, but do you have gender pronouns here? My gender pronoun is yeah.
Not HDMI, but
yeah, not HDMI. I say that I'm Palestinian and I'm a mom, so my gender pronoun is she's tired. Don't mess with me. And so Americans have always observed. Like, I've been in America for a long time. I'm not going to give you guys my age, but you can do the math since the first Intifada. They've always been progressive on everything. One of the first observations my dad noticed is he said dogs have more rights than smokers. But until Palestine, so that's called PUP, like progressive until Palestine. Like, until it came to Palestine, we're not progressive. And Mamdani is pushing it the other way. They're realizing, because I believe what I love about America is that they're not like us. Like, they're not fatalists. Like, they don't have to stick to an idea. They will wake up and say, oh, we're changing, like, we're no longer on Pakistan's side. Like, they change. They don't care. They don't care what anybody says. And so Mamdani is pushing the politicians to be progressive, including Palestine. So like, when his opponent, who's like tons of money, Mamdani's win was a little bit of justice after 2 years of injustice. You know, like I say that like Palestine and Imran Khan, it's just all injustice. It's so much zulm. Like if you don't laugh, then all this zulm will just get in your head and make you sad. And so Mamdani has pushed the narrative to be authentic on Palestine. That his opponent, who had so much money behind him, I mean, you have no idea, like billions of dollars, to say something like, he saw that the voters are pro-Palestine. So he said something like, you know, what is happening there is a genocide. So there is a glimmer of hope. So when we go back, inshallah, we will vote for him. I'm really excited because my son is 18 now, he can vote. I had him last time when, do you remember when Trump was running, there was a lady running against him, her name is Stein. And she was very progressive on Palestine, like really, she chose a Muslim vice president. He's a very articulate guy, like Hafiz, he's black Muslim. Not like picked up Islam in jail, like
Yeah.
You know.
Real one.
Yeah, like his dad raised him on Islam. And black people really relate to Islam because Islam is fair, right? And so when we had the voting, I told my son Zidan, who wasn't quite 18, I was like, just go and register and vote for Stein. So then he came home and he goes, you had me lie for Palestine. I was like, if they decided that genocide is legal, then you registering to vote is fine. And then he said, and then I said, but you know, Zidan, she has no chance. He goes, you made me vote for a woman? So you know, that's improv if you think about it, right? He said yes, and I'll do it, and he went. And, you know.
See, when you started comedy, now that you woke up Saqib in the middle of the night and you said, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And when you start hitting the circuits, did you feel that you were being judged or being looked upon as more of a Palestinian first and then a comic, or was it any easier than?
It's very hard for women. You think America is like a liberal country, blah blah blah. Look, it took a man in a Muslim country for me to headline a show, right? He said immediately, yeah, of course you headline the show. But in New York, comedy is I hate to say this, but it's very much controlled by them. Like you go to do an open mic. You know what an open mic is? You're just practicing material. How is it that at an open mic you have like 5 out of 10 people are Jewish? Like the percentage of people who are funny are, but they let each other in. You know, one thing I have to give to them is they are united. If the ummah unites like them, we are like unstoppable. So it's very hard for women, like, because there's a lot of men who think just women are not funny. Like so they'll, like they say, if a woman comes on stage, it's a time for bathroom break or something. Yeah, it's very hard for me. Like when Trump started arresting people, my husband said, my family said, we're really scared for you. You're not making any money from this. Please don't do this. And then Saqib's family also called, and they were worried for us. So then I said, well, maybe I can talk about I can talk about other things, right? But some comedians become comedians because they have like a depressive personality, and they do comedy to, like, it's like a drug. You're constantly chasing the dopamine high. Comedy is a drug. I mean, I've never done drugs.
It's one of the dirtiest, addictions you can ever think of. There's no bigger addiction than doing a good set on comedy. Oh my God, that's.
I always say, like, I've never done drugs. I'm just naturally high on Palestine. Like everybody should try it. The best high. But some comedians do that. I found that I do comedy to educate. Like when I hear misinformation, like if I'll meet an Israeli and you won't believe what they'll say to me. They'll say, so I was raised Christian in Palestine, right? Which I know, like, you've never heard of a Christian Palestinian other than that guy. What's his name? Qasim. The community organizer. Jesus, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, most people have no. And so I converted to Islam, alhamdulillah. And but when I meet Israelis before I got married, and they would say, wait, you are Christian Palestinian? How can that be? We thought they killed you all, right? They are pushing the narrative. This is like a proper like PR machine that pushes the narrative that the Muslims, since Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, have killed us all, right? Which is so untrue. Like my name before I married Saqib is Sakkab. You know what Sakkab means? The guy who pours. Sakab. The root word is Sakab. So Sakkab is the guy who pours. And I had a great grandfather like 500 years ago. We chased our heritage down 500 years. He used to pour gold on church bells. So for 500 years, the Muslims haven't killed us. You came and ethnically cleansed us, but you tell the media that's what I'm like going against. Like I'm going against this like industry. It's an industry. It's a PR industry. It's a Hollywood industry. They make movies like Exodus. Exodus is a movie where like when do you remember when Mel Gibson made the movie?
Yeah.
He got cancelled. They cancelled him. The biggest star in Hollywood was cancelled because he showed that, Meri Mulk Wala Chor killed him. Yeah. So I forgot what the question was.
The question was,
So then when I had to cancel my show, I thought maybe I can do comedy just about being a mom and parenting and make fun of myself and not mention Palestine. But it's very hard for me because the punch, like the punchline always comes from what I know, which is occupation, settlements. Like, inshallah, you will all come to the show tonight and you'll hear like the punchline is always from what I know. It is what I know. It's all I've known. Like, can you imagine like growing up under an occupation? Everywhere you go, there's soldiers with AR-15s. Like when we first came to America, my sister said, "Where are the soldiers?" But I didn't notice them because it's like Nietzsche said, you cannot see it because it has won. Like I never noticed the soldiers. So when I came to America, I didn't notice that there were no soldiers. And so then I realized, well, I can't do comedy without mentioning Palestine. Not that I lean on it. I mean, I have a lot of material that has nothing to do just being a mom. My husband is an artist, which is, we both have like an art journey. He likes cars. That's all he talks about is cars. Like his dad once said he has autism. Because that's all. So there's a lot of humor. Like he recently bought a car and he goes, "I promise you this," and he likes old cars. And he goes, "I promise you this car has no rust, it's very good, blah, blah, blah." He takes it to a mechanic. The mechanic is like, "It's all rusty underneath." I said, "Why didn't you, when you bought it, why didn't you go underneath and check?" He goes, "The seller told me it's not rusty." He goes, "But he was blind." I was like, "You took a blind man's word without, like, he drove to," and by the way, this car couldn't be driven. It has to be towed. He's best friends with a tow truck. His best friends are all mechanics. Like, there is so much humor there,
That's a hard-boiled Pakistani right there, sab aapke janne wale the tow wale, you don't have to speed dial.
Yeah, like the other day we were at Centaurus and somebody had like a really cute red car. I forgot what it was. And me and the kids were standing in the parking lot waiting, and he was looking at the engine, like, why? We're not going to buy a car here. Suzuki FX. And then our son was making fun of me. He goes, he's going to go home. We came for his birthday. Like, we're going to go home and he say, "Baba, it's my 50th birthday. I did such a good job. I did my journal. Can you buy me this car?" Like, so there's a lot of humor that has nothing to do with Palestine. But I realize I can't do it. I can't be authentic because I take comedy as an act of resistance. Like I feel I take it very serious. Comedy is very serious business.
See, so speaking of an act of resistance, you married a Pakistani.
Yeah.
How?
What your question is why?
How? I'm sure you'll get into that, but I just want to understand how does the transition? Did the transition happen at all, or did you make him more of a Palestinian, or did you? Where are the commonalities? Where were the differences? I'm very interested in your perspective in operating in this part of the world in a very tight-knit family scenario.
There's no culture clash at all. Pakistanis are like what is culture, right? Culture is values, principles, and beliefs. So there is no difference between our values as Palestinians. Now I like to say Palestinians, not Arabs, because I realize the Jews like to say Arabs because then that that justifies to them that we should go and live in Arab countries. But no, we want, so I like to use the word Palestinian. So there's no cultural difference between, there's hospitalities there, oppressive hospitality, eat. There is this Japanese comedian that I'm in love with, and she has this joke. She goes, when you meet your family, they say, eat. Why aren't you eating? Eat. And then the next time they see you, they're like, why you got fat? That is there with Palestinians, and he remembers when he first met my mom, he had to eat like a pot of, we have this dish called mahshi, where we stuff the vegetables with rice and meat, and then you stuff yourself. It's very, there's a lot of stuffing. And the hospitality is there, and what I love, there's a lot of things I love about Saqib, but he's really good with languages. And so as soon as we met, he said, listen, there's a lot of people in my family who don't speak English. You have to learn a language. And I made the mistake of choosing Urdu. I thought, that if I'm married long enough into this family, they will not speak Pashto and they will speak Urdu. But no, 22 years. Yesterday, I met a bride, like a brand new bride. She's Urdu speaking. And her and I are sitting, everybody's speaking Pashto. I said, listen, you learn Pashto now while you're in the love phase, Because love is motivating to learn a language. You want to learn Arabic, you fall in love with an Arab girl. You will learn Arabic so fast. And so he learned Arabic and he taught me Urdu. Like whatever I can say, like for example, like aap se milkar bahut khushi hui, I can read and write it. And so there was a lot of we had a lot of things in common in that way, that we were raised on very, very similar principles and values. Like when my mom met Saqib's dad for the first time, the only concern my family had is that he's Muslim and I was raised Christian. And like any minority, anytime you have a minority, you worry that if your daughter will marry from the majority, then the minority shrinks, right? But I really believe that Muslims and Christians have so much in common, It's the same lineage. Right?
I have seen similar things happen.
Yeah.
In my time in the US, it was crazy. Like, jo saas bahu ke maamlaat yahan pe, exactly the same things are happening over there.
Yeah.
The mother-in-law
So
and the
much.
daughter-in-law situation is exactly the same.
Yeah, I never
It's
saw
just
any
different
clash
names.
culturally, zero. I felt Saqib was more closer to me culture-wise than an American-born Arab guy, right? And the only thing is yes, my family is more working class. Like the other day we were in the village house, and his uncle, my father-in-law's uncle was an ambassador, right? So we went to tour the house next door, and there's pictures of the Queen of England, right? So I was telling Saqib, I was like, your family entertained the Queen of England, and my family entertains in the garage. So and there was one photo where his uncle has made the Queen laugh. And I was like, I bet you he was funny. Allah yarhamo. I bet you he was funny. And she was probably thinking, this guy is so much more charming than boring Philip. Right? She's probably regretting all her choices. And you can see that in the photo.
I once offended Charles. He's not going to do it in Dajkal, but that's another story.
You met Charles?
Yeah, he was here. We were doing this presentation in the Prime Minister's house.
So you should brag about that you met.
I don't know. I told my dad about this, and when I told him, Dad, today I gave a presentation to the Prince Charles, and he's like, yeah, I had dinner with his dad. It was interesting. Yeah, he's a nice chap. He's okay.
If I met Charles, it would be dropped in every conversation. 2 minutes into meeting you, I'm like, I met Charles.
So Susie, in the short time that we've known each other, and we've had some really amazing conversations, even though they've been really small. She has this particular take on how people name their kids in Pakistan. Would you want to get into that, Susie, at all? Just a little bit? Because I find that fascinating.
Do you guys know Onaija? Remember Onaija? Okay, anyone here doesn't know her? I'll explain really quick. Onaija was this black lady who catfished a guy. You know what catfishing is? Catfishing is when you post a photo of yourself looking like a celebrity, but in real life you don't look like that person. So she came to Pakistan and then he said, no, I'm not marrying you. And then she said, I'm not leaving Pakistan. And she was a great PR opportunity for Pakistan. We should have kept her. And so there was this video where she's like, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna need $20,000 every month. I'm gonna fix your sidewalks. You know? And yesterday I was going shopping. I was like, she was right. The sidewalks. So inshallah, like when I get my residency, Qasim, what I want, like when I don't leave Pakistan, I want to be the minister of names. Okay. Because you pick up names, you pick up nouns from the Quran, and then you name your children. You can't do that. Like, my husband's name is Al-Najm al-Thaqib, which means shooting star. Okay, but that's not like, his name is nice, Zahid. Zahid is a very nice name. It means somebody who it's minimalist, like somebody who doesn't want material things, which he really is a Zahid. He just wants golf. And so I find these names, like the other day we met, she's not here, so we can say it. We met a girl named Tathir, okay? Tathir, you know what it means in Arabic? It means circumcision, okay? You can't name your child that. Like Mehrun Nisa.
She found out like 3 days ago.
So that's all I want. I just want to be the minister of names. You have your babies, you bring me the name, I tell you yes, no. It's an adjective, okay, adjective is fine. But if it's a noun, no, you cannot name your noun. Like Mehrun Nisa, that means dowry. Like, why do you want to name your child? Okay, the word nikah, like the event nikah, that you don't want to know what that means. I'm not going to tell you. I'm too polite to tell you. So please go home, ask Google Translate to translate. He knows. Do you speak Arabic? Oh, I like the kufaya, by the way. It's so nice to see kufayas. I'm seeing more and more kufayas in comedy shows, which really, it automatically makes me realize, oh, the audience is on my side. Yeah, but before, the kufaya was like a symbol that you are, like, it reminded them of Arafat. So yeah, I want to be the minister of names, because there's a lot of names that, or Pakistanis have 2 first names. Like whenever I see like a high achiever in the New York Times, I think, oh, maybe he's Arab, but then I read 2 first names, I think, no, he's Pakistani. That's all. That's not much, right, to be the minister of names?
No, that's plenty.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm sure she's just hearing names now. She's going to learn more. When you...
Wait. Al-Najm al-Thaqib, when you say it together, but if you just say Thaqib, that means penetrating. Yeah, so when I told my family, they changed it to Sa'ib. Remember Sa'ib Iraqat? He was a very well-known Palestinian. They said, we're not going to call him that. Like, that's not going to work. We're just going to say.
I'm sorry. So, when...
by the way, I also changed my name when I first came to Pakistan.
What's your name now?
I was Sonia for a while.
Yeah, you were Sonia for a while.
Yeah.
Sonia is kind of mid-tier, no? You don't know whether it's Muslim, Christian. It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So you were a bit homogenized by that.
Yeah.
Where are the differences?
The cultural differences?
Yeah.
The work ethic. Believe it or not, I know. Like,
I'm sure by that you mean Pakistanis have excellent work ethic and we give it our all and we always come on time, and we are bound by our goals and the energy that we put in our work. Of course.
I met my husband at a picnic, okay? It was like a college picnic. We were both done with college, but this was, like the South Asian group got together with the Arab group and they did a picnic. And to this day, I think that the South Asians did all the work and the Arabs just showed up to the picnic and said, smoking shisha. I just find, I've been married long enough to know that Pakistanis have a better work ethic. And
what?
I think that's because we are by nature.
This is like, so one day a Devu was speeding, right? The news came and the Devu was speeding through the highway at 100 kilometers an hour. Even the manufacturer said, nah. Really? You think?
Do you know the difference between the Arab work ethic? I mean, look at Dubai. If it wasn't for Pakistanis, you think the Arabs are going to build it? Yeah.
Like I would give some credit to the Bangladeshis and the Indians also, but yes, it was. If you want to see work ethic, it has to be paid in dirhams.
Yeah. You know how they say America runs on Dunkin' Donuts? Yes. Dubai runs on Desis. If the Desis leave, like if Pakistan and India get their stuff together and they leave, Dubai will be...
There'll be nobody there. It's like 10% of Arabs. There'll be nobody there.
Yeah. No, I've observed this long enough to know that, like, Like the South Asians and Asians in general have the like if he can do it, then I can do it. And if he can't do it, then I must do it. And we have the work ethic that if he can do it, let him do it.
I think once you get your residency, maybe I don't know. But if that's an observation, I'm
Wait, Qasim. And then if he can't do it, yeah, Habibi, how can I do it? I've been married to for 24. Look at my mother-in-law. Every day the house is spring cleaning. Every day, it's even though you have staff, it's still you're supervising. I wait until you tell me I'm coming over, and then I panic clean. Panic cleaning is you do it in the last 5 minutes, right? And I'm not putting us down. I don't know. I haven't studied anthropology. I don't know why this is, but I just find that, and I have a lot of friends who are Indian too. I find that South Asians you don't have Korean work ethic, but
thank you. That
yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty.
Yesterday we met a guy, a Pakistani guy who has businesses in Korea. So I was like, who works for you? He goes, Koreans. He goes, you think I'm gonna bring Pakistanis? So that's one difference. But otherwise, honestly, Abhi, do you notice any other differences? Culture-wise, values, principles, beliefs? More or less the same. Yeah. So I always felt I'm the youngest of 6, and everybody in my family married Palestinians. Some married American-born Palestinians. So my mom passed away, Allah yarhamha, in 2017. And one of the last things she said to me, it's gonna make me cry, is she said, you married into the most beautiful family. They are, she's comparing them to Palestinians, right? But she just said the sweetest things about Saqib's family. She goes, I'm so relieved that you are with good people. And so it's that, it's the good people, the values are the same. There is, yeah, of course.
When I went to Aunt your mother,
Yeah,
first time it was like asking for a rishta.
yeah.
And they have a certain tradition when you ask for a rishta. They have in their mind. So that, okay? When you're asking for a rishta, when I went there, this was in California, and I didn't know this. And then my son, he knew it. He said, you have to do this, you have to do, don't ask for that, don't ask this, that, and the other. But the main thing was that there was vodka lying there. There were shots of vodka.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You remember that? There were shots of vodka lying there, and he said, you have to have it, because that means...
I thought it was Turkish coffee.
No. I should have said Turkish coffee, but it wasn't. It was hardcore vodka, and they were just small shots, and you had to have one to say, we agree if you agree, it's all set. So when I did that, then everybody said, oh, Mabruk, it's all done.
I had no idea. This must be something between the men.
Yeah.
But it's usually coffee.
This was Emil,
Emil, yeah,
your
my
brother,
Emil.
your big brother. He had arranged all this.
Yeah. Christian Palestinians, Arafat, when he agreed to Oslo, one thing he said, it cannot be a dry country because there's a lot of Christian Palestinians. We don't drink like white people, but sometimes on Christmas or something, people drink. But that's so interesting. I learned something new. Okay, I'm gonna have to add that into my play, Qasim. I thought it was Turkish coffee, that when you ask someone something of an Arab, if you drink the coffee, then it means yes. And if they don't drink the coffee, then it's a no.
So when you do your comedy, has there been an occasion where you said something which got a completely opposite response from what you were expecting?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. I recently read an article, an interview with Rami Youssef. You know Rami Youssef? He's also Egyptian.
Yeah.
And he said he knew he has to lean into his Muslim identity more when he once talked about practicing Islam in LA, which is a godless place, right? He goes, somebody can come on stage and say they're gay and everybody claps, you know. But he goes, if I get up on stage and say I pray, then, you know, he goes, they would be quiet because they don't know. He goes, when I hear the silence, it means there's more there.
Yeah.
So then he goes home and he writes more, you know. So when something is met with silence at first, it means that you're a little uncomfortable, but it means that there's something more. You want to learn more. You're curious about it. Because, look, comedians, we are not here for you to see us. We are here so you see yourself. Yeah. So that you go home and think, oh, you know, it's exactly what happened to me. I will forgive you for coming late. Noon. It started at noon. Yeah. I know. I was telling Qasim, I thought Pakistanis were better with time management than Arabs. But it's exact. You missed the beginning. That's how I found comedy. I saw a comedian and I said, I want to do that. But it doesn't have to be like, you know, I want to be on stage and do a 5-minute set. No, it's, you see that comedy and improv is so healing. It's so healing. And in this world where we are just witnessing injustice after injustice after injustice, like we've never ever, like, imagine if the Crusades were on TV. None of us, we would not have survived. Like, and so if we don't process things through humor or whatever tool you have, and so that's the hope, is that when we perform comedy, we want you to go home and feel better, or relate, or what do you hope, Qasim? Or you're here for you.
I would say that whenever there's a stage and there's comedy happening, whether it's improvised or not, I'm usually the person who's having the best time of all. Yeah. I'm having the most fun, and it heartens me and warms my heart to see people, even if they can just break through their routine and just smile, just laugh, even if they can just remove themselves from whatever the issues they have at home, whatever's coming, whatever has happened, and just alienate themselves for a bit. That's just lighting one candle in the wind, but enough candles, I'm sure the light does get spread around. That's why it's so fulfilling, and we do what we do. Yeah, AC agar chala, I think people are feeling hot.
Yeah, I had a show in Chicago at a museum, and they put the show in the newspaper. So one girl in the audience came up to me, young girl, reminded me of me like 20 years ago. And she said, I heard your story. Like, you know, because in my story, I faced a lot of Islamophobia from my family. Like, you think what you're hearing on Fox News, that's nothing. Like, and it was during 9/11, right? They were beating the drums. They were beating the drums for the Iraq war. So whenever America beats the drums for war, you're going to hear Islamophobia. Like, I remember once my sister was watching the news and she goes, they said the Afridis are drug smugglers. And like, I was like, are you kidding? They're entertaining the Queen of England.
Maybe she likes the drugs. Anyways,
Yeah.
so when we do comedy in Pakistan, as you know, we are the land of the free and the brave and free speeches, the bedrock of our democracy. We can't talk about much. We can't talk about.
I'm
We
so
generally cannot
curious
talk
to
about
see.
politics.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot talk about sex. We cannot talk about drugs. We cannot talk about religion, right? And these are the easiest low-hanging fruits that, you know, for a fresh comic.
Yeah.
This is what you grab onto, yeah.
Yeah.
But we cannot talk about these things, and we have
You're in the box.
we're pretty boxed up.
Yeah.
Yet, as you will see tonight, we're having a show in Blue Area. Susie's headlining. There's 5-6 of us. We're going to be performing. It's just stand-up comedy. So you'll see how we circumnavigate through these issues and yet try to come up with some comedy. How is it for you? How was it for you? Did you feel the need to avoid some issues based on your identity or your cultural thing?
I don't censor myself. I'm not.
From the first day on?
Because my biggest fear is to be cancelled before I'm rich and famous. Okay, that would be terrible. And so I don't censor myself. Like I performed in Dubai, and I didn't ask for any. Like I didn't talk to any comedians before. After I got off stage, the guy was like, "Oh my God!" The guy after me, he was Indian Muslim. He had a great opening joke, by the way. He said, "My parents are Indian. I gave them a Google review. 0 out of 5 stars. Do not recommend." But he felt so comfortable that he talked about, he had this great joke, trashing Netanyahu, trashing Israel. He wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't just, say whatever I wanted. I don't censor myself because I don't like recording. I don't like people recording and posting it on YouTube because we're always working on a joke. We're always working on perfecting a joke. We're basically like word engineers. If I I have this joke about returning things in America, and I recently learned that the key word that triggers the laugh is to, the right to return. I like that. I don't want the right of return. I like the right to return, right? So we're always working. That's one thing. The second thing is we are afraid of being canceled before we make it, right? And so I never censor myself. I just assume that you are all good, sincere people, that there is no ISI or Mossad or
I can
CIA.
see one ISI, two Mossads, maybe a little raw.
Yeah. Yeah. I just
But-
assume
but
there is no,
it's
there is
okay,
no,
guys. We
there's
welcome
nobody.
you.
Tonight there's no, everybody who's coming, right?
I'll have it's just the CIA
Yeah.
and the Pentagon, MI6 maybe.
Yeah. The thing is, I've been doing comedy in America under the illusion of
The first
free
thing she
speech.
asked me, how many ISI spooks will be at my show? Will a black dollar come at the end, take me away? No, you'll be safe. We'll take good care of you.
Yeah, so I think it's important not to censor yourself. Like Dave Chappelle, biggest comedian ever. When he is working, if he's gonna do SNL. By the way, SNL is all improv. That's the product of improv. What you see on Saturday Night Live, all of that they do improv, and then they finally. But there was a Palestinian, a Lebanese guy, and they kicked him out.
I think it was a very short. Maybe he
For
came
the
for 2
same
episodes.
reason,
Yeah.
he's humanizing us, and we can't be humanizing. So I just don't censor myself. I assume you're all sincere, you're all good people, and you're not gonna report me to Trump. And that's what I assume. That's how I operate. If I sense, like I told you, when I sense fear, I cancel because right now we'll wait and see in America what's gonna happen.
Before we let the audience in on the questioning, I have one question to ask you. Do you think Trump will get reelected?
I think it's over. You know how America has transition of power? There's 3 things about America that are decent, okay? You know what they are? Freedom of speech, which until now, what Palestine has done is lifted the veil on humanity. We realized liberalism, westernized, it's all bakwas. And so there is a freedom of speech, you can protest, and there is transition of power when one president goes. And the third thing that I really love about America is perforated paper towels. The quality of American paper towels, you can't beat it. And so I use the paper towels here, and they're just gonna fall apart in your hands, like American democracy. And so I don't know. I think that Mamdani's win in the next month will tell us if the Democrats move the needle and just come out and say we're pro-Palestine, which is the right thing to do, they have a chance of winning. But I think if they don't, he's got so many, he's such a criminal, and they still 2 women lost to him, right? So I think the lesson for women is give up. Don't run for president.
My question is just a follow up.
He might not transition. He might institute some sort of martial law.
Is Trump voicing the majority of the U.S. population, or is he just talking out of the way of the Democrats and the leftists?
Look, there's a lot of poor people in America, poor, living paycheck to paycheck, and we see them in Pennsylvania. They voted for him because the liberals, they kind of look down. Remember Hillary?
Yeah.
She called them deplorables.
Yeah.
When I go to Pennsylvania and I meet these people, I'm like, I can win these people over. I'm just not going to call them deplorables, And so they were voting for him because they thought that he's on their side. But Trump is on the side of money. That's why boycotting really works. You can do it here. Don't get Coke. I can on my Instagram I have a post where it shows you all the brands. Boycotting will hurt them.
Yeah, boycott Coke, burn out a few KFCs. It always works.
Yeah. But wait, you asked me a question about how do I censor myself. Like at my last show, I had this joke where I said that, like when people ask you, what do you do all day? Like if you're a stay-at-home mom. And I said, that, like I think that you are what you do all day. Like if you go around the house and you snack, and then you're a sneaky snacker, okay? But if you spend all day defending a genocide, then you are probably a Democrat, right? Because we had 2 years of Biden and his people defending the need to send arms to Israel, right? And there was a guy, I didn't know this till after, there was a congressman, you guys probably don't know him, but he's pretty famous, Jamal Bowman. You know Jamal Bowman, he knows he's well read. He lost his seat to money, to AIPAC money. You know AIPAC, right? The Israel lobby. And he was in the audience. And apparently he laughed so much at that joke because he lost his seat because of that. So that's like a perfect example of I don't censor myself and it works. And when I first did that joke, it made people uncomfortable because liberal people don't want to be told that they are not good on Palestine. Like they don't want you to hurt their feelings. But that's a perfect joke that I just believed in it, and I kept working it. And the punchline to that joke is that I spend all day picking stuff off the floor, so I'm just a shit picker. It's like there's just always Legos and stuff on the floor. I'm so relaxed here because, mashallah, like the house is so well run that it's like a spa. Like I call it, my mother-in-law's name is Nino. I'm like, every day I wake up, I'm in Nino spa. There's plants and candles and beautiful things.
Nino's your mother, okay.
Mother-in-law.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mother's name was Maryam. Yeah.
I would love to have some questions from the audience, if you have any questions for Susie and the wonderful perspective she brings. If you have any questions, or I can carry on rummaging through her mind. Sir, please.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's been very interesting listening to you. Actually, this morning when I read in the newspaper about a Palestinian and the name ended up with Arfidi, so it really intrigued me, and that is why I am here. That how can a Palestinian who is married to an Arfidi can be funny, not explosive, and not explosive, So, so that was one question. Yeah, explosive. So yeah, that's the other side on it. So I mean, you've addressed that quite interestingly. So the other thing is, I was always intrigued. What makes a person funny? How does he become a comedian? So because that was, like I have a friend, his name is Nanjani. He migrated to US, and his son is a stand-up comedian, a very famous. Yes, yeah. And he made that Big Sick, that movie. So, and I've seen with some other people also who are really funny and who make people laugh. Is there is something behind them which is something very sad, and they actually try to come out of it and make people laugh, and in the process forget about their things. Like in case of this younger Nanjani. So that was another thing in my mind. So, but coming to the question, what makes a person funny?
Yes. So I don't know if you heard earlier, but I said there's two kinds of comedians. There's a kind of I met Kumail in real life, not a nice person.
No.
Yeah. Like I literally asked him for help. I was like, can you introduce me to someone Asian? And he was so like, so I think he's the sad type. Like he's trying to get over his sadness. But he even has a story where he talks about being excluded at school. Like there was all the cool kids were under, like, look it up, his story. Some comedians you meet them in real life and they're genuinely like not fun. They're not fun people, they're not funny people. But I don't know, you tell me, Abhi, like I think I'm funny off stage too. What did he say? Not too funny. This is Far too funny.
Far too funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, right.
I do it, and I do it, and I remember I became a comedian after becoming a mom. I think to engage kids, sometimes these kids are just not available for learning. And so sometimes if you want to teach your kids something and you use a joke, they're suddenly listening. It's like you wake them up. So I think that's part when I started, my son was 5 and he has ADHD, so he has hyper. And so a lot of, I use comedy to engage him, and if I'm teaching him a math problem, or if I'm reading, I would always improvise, while reading. And I think I'm the type who is funny to educate people, because I realize that if you make people laugh, then you make people listen. So, but there are two types. I have a friend who's a comedian, and I had her over for dinner the other day. I was like, oh, she's not funny in real life. They're just funny on stage, and they have a very scripted funny, right? But funny is, I wish it for everyone. It's a superpower, because it's when I had a midlife crisis, in my late 30s. I went to the therapist, and the therapist said, she said, I said, my mom didn't watch me, I was neglected, I was the youngest of 6, occupation, blah, blah, blah. I kept blaming my mom, right? And she goes, there's nothing wrong. You had a perfect childhood. Your mom was an amazing mom. She goes, you're just having a midlife crisis. Go take a writing class, right? So I took a humor writing class. She even said, take a humor writing class, you're very funny. So I took a humor writing class. Then the teacher said, no one reads. Because no one reads. Yeah, if you think about it, people he read the newspaper, and that's why he came. So he said, take your ideas to the stage. And that's when I took literally what I wrote to the stage. And at first, when you take what you write to the stage, it's not funny. Then you work on it and you improvise it, and then you a lot of times in conversation, I'm trying a joke. People don't know it. Yesterday, we were at a house party and we were leaving, and so I said, listen, we're not gonna do the long Pakistani goodbye. We're gonna say goodbye here in the living, not at the gate. You don't ask me heavy topics at the gate, how do I feel about my mother? No, that's not a gate topic. You ask me. And I said, and then one of Saqib's aunts was there, and I somehow said, I think that's why Benazir Bhutto got shot, because she was doing the long goodbye. Just a goodbye, then you go on. So that's me trying something in real life, and I was like, oh, it works, and you write it down, and then you try it on stage. But I would say, this is just my observation. There are two types of comedian. Both of them have the superpower. Kumail is still funny, and he wrote a movie. By the way, he's been very silent on Palestine. Yeah. Kumail and Malala are cancelled. That's another thing. I want to be the ministry of cancellation. I want to cancel people. Yeah. I've cancelled Malala. Yeah.
So there is Susie. Maybe she just mentioned that she became a comic because she was a mom. She became a mom. I became a comic because I never became a dad. If you have 4 kids doing Rana in your car while the traffic is choked, no comedy is coming out. And there's koi comedy nahi nikalegi. No, but seriously, just to add to what she said, I'm not a sad person. I think some of you might know that. I have no latent traumas. I've solved them out, all of them. They're all good. I feel that my comedy, there's no formula to comedy that can be put down on paper. So it changes with every person. So in very broad terms, I feel that it is about expectations and perspectives. How do you see one thing from a different perspective can be funny? Now that different perspective could be through sadness, it could be through, like she said, fish out of water story, when you're completely taken out of your environment and put into a fresh environment. That's a different perspective. And once you start adding some comic angles to it, it becomes funny. And then, of course, there is making and breaking expectations. That's the very basic formula for comedy, that I create an expectation and then I break it for you. For example, if I say, I've been in love with the same woman for 25 years, and then my wife found out. So I built an expectation and I broke it for you. So, that's comedy. What do you think?
That's true. Yeah. There is no formula for comedy, but a lot of it is you're walking a tightrope. You're on this tightrope, and you don't know if you're crossing the line, or because if you cross the line, you upset people. Like sometimes I say something, and my son will say, "Oh, that didn't work. That bombed," you know. But but on stage, you're walking this tightrope constantly, and it's that tightrope that if you want to be edgy enough to make people laugh, and educate them, and sort of like in this day and age, give a sense of justice, you know, because like I posted this joke, and this guy in Gaza, he said, your jokes are better than missiles. Like he's like, they get like they're better than nuclear missiles or something. Like I was like, wow, that's so profound.
Susie,
he appreciated the joke.
I've been to Magala Thana once
Yeah.
on charges of inciting public to revolt against the
You've been
government.
to jail?
Not to jail, but Thana. I went to the police station.
Oh, you mean like
I was
like
arrested. Yeah, kind of arrested.
like
Did not to just judicial custody,
now he tells me this.
but this was in 2006 when things were pretty rocky back then.
What? They're always
What's the-
rocky. When has
And-
Pakistan not been rocky?
What's the worst backlash that you've faced, or based on comedy?
Not making it. Like I know. Look, I did comedy when I have two boys and huge age difference. So I did comedy when my son was little, and you know you're good. Like I'm confident. I know I'm good because and comedy is like very black and white. You make people laugh or they don't. So I would have a 5-minute thing where I would have a laugh every 5 seconds. And I remember when I sent that video to the Comedy Cellar. Comedy Cellar is like the Mecca of comedy in New York, right? Like that's where Dave Chappelle goes, all of them. And the guy didn't even reply. So that's when I knew, oh, this is anti-Palestinian bias. Because he can't, right? He can't put me on stage because I'm humanizing, first of all, like by with my story of I married a Muslim and no one died, that's I'm humanizing Muslims, right? And I'm humanizing Palestinians. So it's not that I've faced backlash, but it's this subtle, like, yeah, you know.
You can tell that there is a opposition.
Covert
Yeah.
racism, very, very covert racism. Like I have this Jesus joke where I say Jesus was a Palestinian Christian, right? And a lot of them find that offensive because they say he's Jewish. So yeah, he was Jewish, but then he threw a revolution against you, and he started a new religion, and we mark the time with that new religion, so he kind of won, okay? Even though he died.
Yeah.
And so it's this subtle, like covert racism, like they just don't give you. Like I applied for the Arab Comedy Festival, which is coming up, and I applied for the New York Comedy Festival. Same video, I submitted the same video with all my jokes. Guess which festival I got into? The Arab Comedy Festival, right? So I've met so many, like you know, when you posted the thing, a famous Palestinian comedian said, she's more famous than me. She goes, "You're going to Pakistan? I want to go to Pakistan," because she's not getting stage time there. It's very, very hard because if they give us stage time, then we revert the narrative.
I've actually heard from quite a few Palestinian comedians who want to come to Pakistan and perform to get the platform because they're not getting that space over there.
Yeah, so inshallah, like if we get enough PR from tonight's show, like we're recording it, right? So we'll drop
We are
like
recording.
clips.
We'll put it up, guys. 6:30 p.m. We'll put up our CNC theater ka laga denge yahan pe. You're most welcome to come in. There's going to be me. We have a bunch of other comics. There's Afifa, there's Sabah, Abdullah, and Arslan, all ABCs. And I'll probably do something as well. And Susie, of course, she's headlining. Please come and support us. The more comedy we can create through these divides, it's just adding light to the society that we know.
Yeah, and hopefully next time we'll do like a bigger theater.
We'll do big
I'm really
events.
curious to see how. I haven't heard comedy here, so I don't know how you're gonna do it without talking about politics.
Don't have very high
No.
expectations, but we'll try to.
Yeah.
We'll get along so far.
Sex is fine. Like I believe America's comedy is all sex and violence, and I think you can do it without that. But how you
We
do
could
it
also do without
talking
it,
about-
but the population is kind of on the uptick. Any other? Yes, please, ma'am. Yes, could you? This is at the Roar Works. It's in Blue Area. The details I'll put up my page here so you guys can get to the details. Sir, a question.
I have a question.
Can you have the mic, please?
I have the mic, I have the question.
Right. Yes, please.
Okay, so you talked about the Pakistani work ethic and there was a laughter because we thought that there is no work ethic. I think there is work ethic only if there is a job and there is work. So I have a question that is, when you said that I do comedy for resistance to educate people, and then a reply came from him that, and then you married a Pakistani. So don't you think that Pakistan does not have that resistance spirit? And the question I'm coming to is that, is it, possible that comedy sometimes reinforces the biases, and that what comedy is meant to do?
Yeah, if you're standing on stage and you're trashing your people, like we call it throwing your people under the bus. Like there was a famous Pakistani playwright. He's famous in New York. Ayad Akhtar. Has anybody heard of him? He won the Pulitzer because he wrote a play about a man who's married, and in the play he threw in all the stereotypes. You know, the wife beating, the Jew by, like all the stereotypes, and like in a way but the thing is, the problem is when you perform for the white gaze, yes, they give you the accolades, but then your people don't like you anymore. So I made a choice a long time ago that I'm not performing for the white gaze, because that's not who I want to make laugh. I want to make Pakistani, and I find that Pakistanis are just such great audiences. Like I find that in New York, liberal Jews are very, very great audiences because they're willing to laugh at themselves. And they also are scared, you know. So I find Pakistanis to be very, like, on average and in general, just so they really they love the Palestinian cause. They're very attached to the Palestinian cause.
Bro, what's your name, if I may ask? Rahmatullah? Rahmatullah bhai, I'll give you some of my observations. Some of the comics who were born in Pakistan, then they adapted their acts to pander to the Western audiences, right? They do lean very heavily into the nuances and the idiosyncrasies that we observe in our society, and they do that. But that nobody would nobody would laugh at them here.
Yeah.
Because this is our life. This was not funny to us. But when you you shift that perspective, and Kumail does this a lot as well. Mm-hmm. He shifts that perspective and brings it to the audiences that are in the West. So for them, it is interesting as well as funny. I think Saad also does this a lot, because he has tuned his act to be performed in front of Western audiences. So that pandering works. But if you do the same thing here, it wouldn't be funny. It would be almost offensive to a point, because that would be not laughing at us as a group, but laughing at as me being superior, and laughing at the audience as someone who's lower than me. And comedy does not work like that. We started with that the comedy has to be effective. Comedy has to be punching upwards. If we're to the powers who control, to the powers who oppress, and that's where we get our comedy from.
Like I recently performed in the Big Brown Comedy Hour, like big club in New York, right? And
Big Brown was big.
Yeah. And the hostess, the Dean Abedallah chose this hostess, and I didn't know this because I missed her. I didn't hear her. But when I came on stage, you know, she was not wearing a bra. And then she told the story of how she grew up in an Islamic school. Her dad was a Sunday school Islamic school teacher, and she was wearing hijab, and she gave up hijab. And so I was thinking, okay, I can see giving up the hijab, but like the bra, you know, we need the bra. Like. So that's where a perfect example of she is pandering so much to the white gaze that she thinks she has liberated herself. You know, remember in the feminist movement when they thought that's not how you liberate yourself. You liberate yourself by punching up. So I remember just like walking away and thinking, I didn't, you know, even though she was a Muslim woman, brown woman, I didn't like any of her jokes, because a lot of it was to the white male gaze. Yeah. And so alhamdulillah, like I never felt that. I never felt like if it doesn't make my people at home laugh, then it's not funny. But at the same time, Chris Rock said that if the people around you are comfortable, then that's also not good. You have to make them comedy is a little discomfort, and then you laugh, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I think you had a question.
So I wanted to dig in a little bit more on that and sort of maybe the weight you feel and you know the heaviness of the humanity and really being a voice. You know the art of changing hearts and minds through the universal absurdity of the human experience really just creates a bond between the Palestinian people and whoever your audience might be, who may have never thought about the Palestinian experience. I mean, you're being a mom. As a mom in this audience, they see you and they go, okay, that's another mom. We experience the same thing. So, talking about not performing for the white male gaze, but at the same time recognizing that you are that human voice and you may be the only Palestinian voice that they're hearing. How do you balance sort of your creation of your art with that burden and weight of also carrying your people?
That's a really good question. Like it's hard, I think of my mom a lot because my mom never gave in to them. Like, I remember when we were like little girls and we were swimming. Jericho's very hot, not as hot as like hot. So we were swimming, and this was the 80s when all the soldiers were white. This was before they brought Jews from Ethiopia. Okay, and this was the first time I saw white people, and they started swimming in the pool, and they just stripped naked. And here we are, like two little girls. This is a modest country. They don't care about our culture. They don't care about anything. And my mom went up to these men and the general, and she yelled at them. And like that image is like always stuck in my head that's like I could never be as brave as her, right? But I find that like my jokes, like are you coming to the show tonight?
I have a wedding, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I know, Shadi season. So you can look it up on YouTube. I don't wanna give it away, but I have a joke where I flat out call the Israeli settlements like hopelessly, just like there's no hope for a state unless they, leave the settlements. And that joke, like I just feel it gets back at them. And that joke it reminds me of how my mom stood up to them. And by the way, they listened to her and got out of the pool and put clothes on. But it's so hard because it's a big responsibility. I'm not just like a mom doing comedy, like making fun of my kids and stuff. No, I am humanizing an entire people. And sometimes I feel it's so futile because we're not, Palestinians literally turned the phone and showed you what they're going through. And at first we thought maybe because we don't speak English, okay, we speak English, it didn't work. Maybe we thought because everybody's wearing hijab, then you had Bisan. Bisan wasn't wearing hijab. Nothing worked to humanize us. When I hear Trump talk about us and he immediately goes to the Israeli hostages, it just breaks your heart. You think, what's the point? What am I gonna get to anywhere? But I don't know. I was so inspired by when they killed Yahya Sinwar. Do you guys remember when they killed Yahya Sinwar? And he was sitting on the chair, and they had lied and said that he was surrounding himself with hostages, and he was eating well. He hadn't eaten for 72 hours. And there was a stick, and the Israeli drone was filming him, and he threw the stick. Okay, this was a year ago. And when they killed him and they didn't stop, that's when I knew whatever little superpower I have, this comedy, I want to use it. And I have nothing to lose. And me doing comedy, and now we have a saying in Arabic, asa sinwar, like the stick. When there's nothing left to do, you throw the stick. And so this is me doing comedy, like me doing comedy when I go back in the Arab Comedy Festival. It's just my stick. And in the end, he throws the stick. And I really believe, mark my words, I really believe that in 2,000 years, you know how after Jesus died, people wore the cross? And you think about it, I always told my son, don't watch violence, don't watch violence. And then the first time I took him into a church for my mom's funeral, he sees Jesus on the cross. He goes, that's so violent. I'm like, you're right. I really believe that in 2000, less than, maybe 100 years, Yahya Sinwar will be celebrated as a revolutionary hero because he did not want to be a slave to them. He didn't want to go through the revolving door, go work for $8 an hour, then come back. And they knew who he was. He had been in their jails. So there was something about that was if people are willing to give up their lives and it's not Palestine. It's not the land. It's not the land. It's the riwaya. It's the story. Like, you know, we want to own the story. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Gaddafi. Gaddafi said to the Arab leaders one by one, he goes, and say بالعربي and then I'll translate. He said, هذه مش حرب حدود, هذه حرب وجود. He goes, they're not fighting a war of borders. They're fighting a war of existence. They're crazy. And they think that the second they put down their arms, you will kill them. You, like Edward Said. I remember Netanyahu thought Edward Said was going to kill them. And so there's no winning with them. There is no, like, they're never going to stop, right? And I remember the time all the Arab leaders were laughing at Gaddafi. And so one by one, we saw them go like Bashar left. And now he plays video games in Russia, I think. So the Arab comedian in Gaza, when Bashar had to leave, he said something so funny. He goes, Tar Bashar min al-matar. You know how in Arabic you make the noun and everything from the root, right? Tar means fly. So Tar, he flew from the airport. Tar Bashar min al-matar. And then I taught my son that, and now he says, when he went to make laugh, he goes, Tar Bashar min al-matar. So, you know, that's how I see it. I don't know if that answers your question. Like, I always think of my parents, and thank God they're not alive. I don't think they can handle this. But they faced a lot of like small violence. Like, my mom was a farmer, and they wouldn't give her permits to sell her produce. And so, like, imagine like a giant Mercedes truck full of watermelon. We have the most amazing fruits. In the 40s, Palestinians used to send oranges to England, and Germany, and Germany would send them back cars, Mercedes cars. Like, that's how valuable our fruits were. And I think of my mom, I think of my dad, and how much they tried to fight them. And it was literally like leave or die. And you know, we had to leave. But I think of her when I do comedy, and I just think if this is this little stick that I can throw, then it's you know, fine. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I am just holding and mesmerizing. Susie used you. It's so beautiful. I just lost the words. First of all, I'm very proud to see the women as a comedian, because in Pakistan we have probably lesser comedian females.
Ma'am, come to the show tonight.
I am, of course I am.
औरतें इतना ज़लील करती हैं, हमें आपकी सोच है, आप आए
Of
वहाँ पे.
course I will.
There's going to be 3 women and 2 men, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have.
And the men are just doing the work, like, you know,
Yeah,
all
we're
the
just
work we
putting
don't
up
want to do.
chairs,
Okay.
getting coffee and stuff.
Lovely. I'm looking forward to that. So, you know, before I ask a question, I just wanted to refer one thing. I am a Pakistani who refer back to, you know, no Pakistani dare to call a Palestinian any official into public for, you know, past many years. For it's daring in Islamabad.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a person who dared to go invite attaché from the Palestinian embassy.
You have a mission here, right?
Yes, we do.
Pakistan has always
Yes,
had a
we
mission,
do.
yeah.
Yes, we do. So, you know, before here, I just, you know, people here most, beside me, they go according to Jazeera and all that, killing and murder and losing the house and this, that, and 3,000 killing, that. So I wanted that was a badminton event. I wanted all of them Palestinians to have a good time.
Yeah.
And I, of course, wanted Ambassador himself and to have fun here. And I requested him on the phone. I said, well, if you arrive there, come with the family, and I would like you to, you know, in the public, I want you to have a good time. I could not really open my heart that I just don't want any more bad stories. I couldn't say that. But when he popped into the event with the family very gracefully, before he entered, I could see more than 30 to 35 people, they start crying. Pakistanis, they start crying in this difficult situation. And to be very honest, so, you know, then it was difficult for me to hold the situation because I planned for fun. I wanted to give some life to them, all the Palestinians and Pakistanis. And for a bit, I wanted to change the environment. But it was very difficult. But now, when I see you here, I expect a lot. When I saw you here, you're a great energy. My question back to you as a minister of word, because, you know, as language transforms, it travels from Arabic to different lands, and, you know, when it comes to Persian and Urdu, it comes with different meanings. As you said, Tatahir is a circumcision. But here in Pakistan, let me surprise you, the noblest people put their name, Tatahir Zahra, Tatahir Zainab, Tatahir Fatima. So, and it's a lesson for me to understand. And it's a pious name. We adjusted to Holy Family of Muhammad as a Muslim. Now the question is, as a female Palestinian, you're great people. I would really love you. But as you're not taken good, as you're not taken modern, and you're not taken the way you are, do you really feel difficulties wherever you go? Are you ready for this evening? Because Islamabad audience is I'm very happy that you know that they're enlightened, but Islamabadian audience is way different than Lahorians. Are you ready for this evening?
Like I said, I don't censor myself and I don't worry. I'm not like worried because I have a lot of comedy is a lot of times you bomb. You don't do it. Like I've bombed in front of my own people in Patterson, New Jersey. All the time. And it was just like, if you don't meet the audience where they are, or if you don't connect with the language or something, a lot of things have to go right for comedy to go right. Like there's a lot of variables, like the wind, the how, everything. And so I'm comfortable enough in my own skin to know that even if we all bomb, it's still gonna be a fun night. Because like you said, people want to feel. They want to come and, like when I had a show, I called it a storytelling show. And people came thinking they're gonna be sad. And then when they came and I booked only funny storytellers. And then they were like so surprised. They said, we were just happy to be in a place where we can show solidarity. That's it. Like they were just, like you said, like they were just happy that you brought the ambassador and they were able. There's a comedian who says, the Palestinian comedian who says, we have to laugh till we cry and cry till we laugh. It's the same coin. Like it's two sides of the same coin. But yeah, I don't worry. Like I have bombed before. I bombed in front of my own people once in New Jersey, which is very working class, like Palestinian area. And the show wasn't going well because they weren't getting my references, And so I remember just ordering the Uber, on stage. And I was like, I'm gonna order, I'm not staying for the kebab, I'm gonna order the Uber. And a lot of phones in the audience lit up because these are working class people who work for Uber. And so that, I bombed, but I got a joke out of it. There's always a story. You always get a story. Like one time, Nino, who's my husband's niece, she did a documentary on my comedy journey. And then we had a festival and we had to see the documentary. And my movie was after this partition movie. And it was not even a good partition movie. It was like all these aunties just drinking chai, and then the curtain would open and the curtain would close. I was like, Nino, by the time my movie comes on, people are gonna be so bored. And it's true, by the time my movie comes on, people were bored, half of them left. And so, yes, it's bad in the moment, but remember that tragedy, as soon as you go home, you shrink the time, you laugh at it, and you're fine. Like I know what my strengths are, and I'm like, old enough to know not to feel bad. Like if I was younger, yes, it probably would affect me. And
you never know what's gonna work. It's gonna work.
Yeah, no,
but
inshallah. Yeah.
Once I was doing the set for this set of this bunch of women who were looking at menstrual awareness, right, for women. So and I really I tried to turn on all my feminism inside, and really looked inside my. Yeah. And so like just all women, right? They were female comics, but I was representing the male class, guys. Thank you I took the brunt for it. So what they did was they said, okay, so since you're a guy, what we'll do is we'll attach these electrodes to your gut, right, to simulate menstrual cramps while you do your set, right? So I spent 5 days on writing that set. I was barely able to perform, but they would just love to see me in pain. They would always like writhing. Those electrodes were like, sending these impulses, and they never listened to my set, but they were so happy to see me in pain, and I was so happy that they're happy. I was like,
Qasim-
how much joy you're taking out of me. It's like, I'm married to you. This is so amazing.
Sometimes we do feel joy in you seeing us, Bob.
You never know what's
Qasim,
going to work.
did you realize then?
And I was
that-
so happy that,
Yeah.
it was a good, for me, it was a win.
Yeah. Was that the moment you realized that if men had to have the babies, there would be no people, no humanity? Because you guys would be in so much pain.
What I was thinking was that if I have to do this, this is easier than writing a fresh set. I can just, if I can just
Get
keep
a
on
fresh
doing this.
set.
Yeah, if I can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
keep on doing this,
Yeah.
I can, this is good stuff, this is good money. I can, yeah.
Yeah, in response to your question, we don't write a fresh set for every show. Like the reason we don't like recording is because we repeat our jokes, because it's not easy. Like Dave Chappelle will tour for a year before he can post it on YouTube or something.
Jokes that he wrote 20 years ago,
Yeah,
but now that joke is expanded to say from 2 minutes to 20 minutes.
yeah.
We always review and revise and keep updating our stuff, but writing an hour set might take a year
Yeah.
or maybe more.
It's just like, there's always that uncle who like has a joke and then at every dinner party he repeats the joke. We're not that bad, but we work on the joke, or we find another use for the joke.
Thank you very much, and thank you to you for sharing your amazing story with all of us here. During that speech that you mentioned, Gaddafi also said that nothing unites us except for this hall, and he was referring to the big hall that they were all sitting in. And one of the things that we reflect on a lot in Pakistan is how fragmented and divided the region is as well. And one of the things we've always sort of felt is that even our modes of communication are very colonized. So we reach each other, Palestinians and Pakistanis and Lebanese and maybe Egyptians, but through New York and London and Paris and wherever else. And we read about each other in papers that are published and media which is produced in these global capitals and so on too. Some people like Fatma Bhutto in Pakistan with the commentary that she's doing these days are creating a bridge and so on. But I felt that although we have so much culturally in common, our cultural influences, the movies that we watch or the media that we're exposed to don't necessarily always bring us into closer contact with each other. So you as somebody who has now wonderfully has a perspective on both Palestine and Pakistan, do you see this hope for this changing in the future, or do you think it can change? How would you think about something like that?
No, there's no hope. No. Somebody, when Israel attacked Qatar and then suddenly MBS called Pakistan, I said, Habibi, you have the toys, we have the boys, like Wajahat said that. So somebody forwarded me a poem that was so profound, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it said, like the gharib kima mar gaya, and nobody blinked an eye. And Amir ka kutta was killed, and the whole world, right? So when they had the meetings after Qatar, they all had a meeting, right? Egypt said, let's do our own NATO, which makes so much sense. We have Pakistan's weapons, let's do our own NATO. But we are so sectarian, like all of us are. So I see it in my family. I'm one of 6, and we are, we have a saying, me and my brother against my cousin, and me and my cousin against the enemy. I don't know why we are sectarian. I think it's a product of colonization. I think it's trauma. I joke that Arabs are so sectarian that my left arm hates my right arm. I don't know. I don't know the solution to the sectarianism. I don't know if it's American interference, but I think there is hope. I think that, with Pakistan, and by the way, Pakistan having nuclear weapons is a sign of work ethic, because look at all the monies with the Arabs and they couldn't develop it. You guys
They just
did
paid us to do it, so
Yeah. No, they didn't pay you. It was at your own cost. Wasn't there a famous politician who said, we will eat grass, but we will have the nuclear weapons?
Yeah, he said that while biting into a pork chop, maybe. You never know.
But I think there is hope. I think that we will unite. And I think comedy is a great uniter. When I do the Big Brown Comedy Hour, which is Indians, Pakistanis, Arabs, and the lady, who gave up hijab and the bra, like she hosted the show. Like it's still, there's a unity in the room. We all realize we're fighting Islamophobia. Islamophobia is an industry that's bought and paid for by Israel. And they pay spokespeople. There is hope. I think there is hope.
I feel that whenever there are fragments, there will be people who would want to exploit that. And but in essence, again, from my perspective, having worked with comics all around the world, they're just really nice people. There's no animosity. There's no bad. I've met very, very few bad people. Even when I talk to my friends in India or Bangladesh or even from
You're
Palestine.
right. This is comedy is very hard.
Comedy is,
and it doesn't make money. Like very few people. So if we were
but
evil,
it brings
we would
people
be
closer, like anything.
Yeah.
It's
Qasim, if we were evil, we'd be in banking or something, or we'd be politicians.
I would kill myself before I get into banking.
I saw a politician's home
Much
yesterday. I was
before.
like, oh my God, why didn't I do politics? I could have done that.
So where else? See, comedy is making her come to Pakistan. Not just comedy, but it got us together.
Yeah.
And it got us all connected together. How beautiful is that? And how many opportunities would you get to talk to someone from her perspective? I feel I needed to share this with you, with everyone, which is why I
How did you find out about this? From the newspaper? Because Qasim just posted the Instagram post.
Word of mouth. The black hole is... Yeah.
Because Saqib's cousin texted me this morning. She goes, oh my God, this newspaper article has the elders all confused. They think that the event has moved to noon. And then one of our uncles was like, I can't open it. And there's nothing to open, it's a photo.
No, the black hole is a beautiful team of workers.
Yeah, thanks
so
to
Yeah.
and everyone here. Nayar, if he's here? Yeah. Nayar bhai is our facilitator here. Alam bhai is the artist.
Yeah.
And Ikram made this wonderful board for us.
Yeah, hopefully the artists will take clips and use it to promote. Because I'm telling you, two famous Palestinian comedians said to me, you're going to Pakistan, we want to come to Pakistan. And if all you have to do is boycott them and support us. And it makes such a difference. Like, look at Starbucks. It's shutting down businesses and Yemeni shops are opening instead. It makes, it's something that you can do safely. You're not risking your life, and you save calories and you lose weight. So
It's really good.
I just wanted to thank you all for coming, and whether you heard about it through...
So we're performing, it's all going to be stand-up comedy. We're performing at, you can find all the details and registration link at this is my Insta page. The event is posted there. This is at Blue Area. If you know Silver Foods ke saath, there is this new parking structure being built. This is the building right next to it. It's on the map and directions and everything is on this page. Please come. It'll be a great event. We'll have lots of laughs, hopefully.
It'll be really... I'm so curious about comedy in Pakistan. I'm really curious. It should be really fun. And hopefully, it will be the first of many.
Hopefully. And we need your support in welcoming her and, of course, inviting more and more people like her in the comedy space even. I feel that we need to have that one-on-one connection, just even maybe on this micro level. But it really shows us how connected we are, how the same we are, and how we can just come together and make something beautiful. Just all of us.
Because remember, like when they colonized us, when the British colonized us, they did divide and rule, right? They were like, oh, you know what, we was talking about drinking. They made the Christians feel better about themselves because they're like, you drink with us, so in my I don't have time to tell you guys the story, but in my family, because of the patriarchy and because of colonialism, because of the drinking thing, there was mountains gambled away, by one guy because he had the privilege and the power. So, when you ask me why I do it, I think of my grandmother, and I think how she was photographed in the National Geographic 100 years ago to sell Zionism, right? To sell Christian Zionism. Oh, look at this beautiful Christian Palestinian woman, schoolgirl. And I was like, they caricaturized her. They didn't even give her a name or a story. And I just think of her and how, like we are, all of us, you here, you are like your grandmother's wildest dreams, right? Like, so use your voice, speak up, because we're at the point, honestly, where we have nothing to lose. Like, we've lost everything. So thank
we
you
all
so
have
much.
those small stakes, however small they are. What's important is that we're checking it at the right people. Yeah. Suzie, thank you so much for coming in. Everyone else,
This
thank you
was
so much
so
for showing
lovely.
up. We had some great questions, great time. Oh, we have a G. Sorry, we missed your question, G.
Okay, so this is my first time in the black hole, and I've really enjoyed the session so far. So I appreciate you guys a lot. My questions, I probably have got a set of questions, and they're not really intellectually loaded, so you'll have to bear with me. The first one, you mentioned improvisation, and for that, I think we need creativity for improvisation. So how do we get that creativity? That's number one. The second one is, what is the difference between creativity, comedy and mocking? That's mocking, yeah. That's the second question. And the third one, that is something that I really want to know, and that is, there are some type of comedians who laugh while they're telling a joke, who laugh before the joke and even when they are telling the joke. So that, I think, ruins the joke. Yeah. So how do you control your laughter?
Oh, that is so hard, because I laugh at everything. So I'll start backwards. That's comedy is also performing. You're performing because you want to surprise the audience, and so you have to learn. That's like, you have to take. I have never taken acting classes, but you eventually learn that I shouldn't laugh at the joke and let you laugh. And the mocking, it's very obvious. Like, when you're laughing at when you are the butt of the joke, then it's comedy. But when I make fun of you, then that's mocking. That's not nice. And I never bully the audience. Like, a lot of male comedians, when they're nervous, they bully the people in the front row. And I can't stand that, because that's not perfect. Like, I'm working on an app for you to review comedians, because sometimes you have a bad experience and it's not your fault. It's like, you know how like you go to a restaurant that's a tourist trap? They know that only tourists will go there, so they don't care. They'll serve you a bad meal. So some comedians are like that. They know they're not gonna do this venue again, so they'll bully the audience, or they don't show up prepared. They don't show up knowing what the audience wants to talk about. So that's all mocking, and that's not cool. Like, those comedians don't make it, but sometimes they work in clubs or something. I forgot the first question. Creativity is, you can't put limits on yourself. You just have to unlearn everything. You have to realize that every institution in your life has lied to you, like including the family. Like, I told you guys I attended a Catholic school, and we didn't have TV at home. Like, I was shown, my sister and I, not just all the girls, we were shown the movie The Exorcist. They told us it was documentary. We didn't know it was entertainment. So we were scared to death imagine, I would have done comedy much sooner if I wasn't afraid. So you have to, there's a point, and I came to this realization very late, like in my 40s. But as soon as you realize, every institution in my life has lied to me, school, family, and as soon as you free yourself and you decide what is funny and what is not, that's creativity. Like, you just have to be completely uninhibited, but not disrespectful. There's a difference between irreverent and disrespectful. When disrespect doesn't work, but irreverence work. Yeah.
What improvisation will do is it will help you get or to break all the molds that you place yourself in, and that unleashes your creativity. So it provides a very open space for you to express yourself without being judged, and that's how you start understanding yourself, and then you start creating your comedy.
Okay, I think it should be like a subject, we study math, science, the drawing, and improv should be a subject that should be taught to kids, because it's so healing. Imagine a kid in a school who feels like a fish out of water. If he finds comedy, he'll feel so much better.
Actually working towards that.
Yeah, you could develop this into
syllabuses. We're working on that.
But it's creativity is hard when you have such a disciplinarian parenting style. Like, if you grew up with a very disciplinarian parenting style, then you have to really unlearn that. Okay, this was, I could talk forever, but we should go.
Yeah, I would like to.
I think Nair Bhai would like to close.
One final remark. Thank you, Qasim Bhai. Thank you, Susie, to be here. Absolutely delighted to listen to you both. Earlier you said that it is important not to censor yourself, and I would like to take this moment to share that here at the Black Hole, we have been doing exactly the same for the past 3.5 years, going live unedited, unscripted, uncensored, unfiltered, but always with honesty and compassion. And our aim is to our aim is dialogue, our aim is learning, building bridges, bringing people together and understanding, not dividing each other. And while we are blocked in India, it is irony, we continue to work here in Pakistan, engaging even with such voices that criticize the state policies, that challenges the powers that be. And I think that is the spirit of openness we try to nurture. And thank you very much for reminding us that sometimes laughter is the most human response to otherwise inhuman circumstances, that best humor does not divide, it connects, it disarms, it reminds us of our shared humanity. And in the last I would say that let's carry forward this spirit to use laughter not as distraction but as dialogue, not to mock the powerless but to challenge the system that oppresses. Thank you very much for here in Pakistan, for being here at the Black Hole. I hope you would come here again. Myself, my team, Alam, Ikram and Alam, the guys who do this artwork, Zohaib behind the live streaming, Faisal, our music teacher, is not here, unfortunately, and our entire team will be very happy to welcome you here again.
Thank you. That was a very great summary, like good inferential comprehension. Yes, that was a very good summary of it. Thank you so much.